All right, guys, what's up? It's Colton, Lindsay here, live with the Prospecting Alliance. I got open what I'm looking to open today. So let's hop into this call. And as always, we need to just go over some guidelines because I want you to write this down. If you haven't before, and if you guys are hopping on, make sure you get your pen and paper ready because today we're going to be focused on some great stuff. Before we do, let's remember the highlights. Number one is participate. How you do anything is how you do everything. And when we participate, we got to play at a level 10. A level what? So we got to go level 10. Because if you're playing right here, this is the practice field game. Right here inside of this is how you're going to go out there and play into the real life, guys. I want to appreciate Ozzy for being on here, Dan, Christian, Frangelico. We got some new people on here as well. Thank you guys for being here. And so let's go ahead and move into what we talk about foundationally to start all of these calls, and that's our victories, because we always want to start off with some positive language and some positive attitude. So we know the drill. For those of you that new, you're going to learn the drill. You can start by volunteering just by pressing the raise your hand button or unmute yourself and start talking. And what we want to do is share a victory or an aha or something you've grown with over the last 2 weeks. Okay. So what happens is if we don't have a volunteer, I start to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, and Dan, you've got your hand up. You're unmuted. Go ahead, Dan. What do you got for us?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey,
Hi. So I hosted a block party for my block, which is also my farm. And in the process of getting everybody to sign on for the block party, I had to go around everyone's door, and which guaranteed me to have a conversation with everybody, which was great. So it was more of a rapport building as I was doing it. And I invited everybody on the 4th, which was yesterday, to come down to my house where I was grilling hamburgers and hot dogs. And we had a little potluck, and the whole neighborhood had showed up and picked up a couple more referrals that day. But all together in the last couple of weeks, that's about a month and a half, picked up 3 to 4 buyer leads and about a half dozen referrals. So all in all, it was really great. Now my farm, I feel, is much stronger, and just having that face-to-face with everybody, really big wins.
awesome. That is a huge win. I mean, the fact that you picked up a few leads from that, and what I really love to hear about this, and that pay attention, guys, is what Dan does great is he grows the relationship. And that doesn't make a ton of money today, but long-term, it's going to make you a fortune. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, man. Now let's go on to the next share. And Sid, I can't see your picture, Ozzy and Pat, but we're going to go ahead. And if you guys would like to volunteer, you've got till I get down to 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Friend Angelico, you're up, Mr. Chicken Eater himself. Go ahead. And what can you hear us?
Hey, yep. Can you hear me?
We got you.
All right, cool. Well, I got my first buyer contract executed. So yesterday, and we're looking to get the inspector in today and see how that process goes. So that's pretty cool for me. My next challenge is to bring like some sort of, I guess, like a broker preview for this other listing that's not getting as much attention as this previous one is.
Okay.
And that's what I'm going to be working on for next week.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And so you said you got a new buyer under escrow? Did I hear you right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. At what price point?
At 127.
Okay, cool. Nice
And
work, man.
Thank you. We listed it at 109.
Awesome. Cool. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Appreciate you being on here, man. Thanks for sharing. All right. I'm going to take on to the next volunteer. I'll be calling on you. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sid, can you hear me, my man? Can you hear me, Sid?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Go ahead and share a victory for you with your prospecting or your business over the last couple of weeks.
Well, I did go ahead and uploaded the list, my contact list, to the Facebook. Like I watched your video, and then now I have uploaded it to the Facebook.
Awesome.
And I've started that ad campaign.
Okay, cool. So you
that's
started
something
working
that
uploaded that list and started working that FSBO list. Is that right? Awesome.
Yeah. I do have
Congratulations.
a question about that. I posted it on Facebook though.
Okay. We're going to get to some questions here in just a second, and then if we'll make sure to bring that up. All right. I see your post right here. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. All right, Ozzy, what's up, my man? You're up next because I just volunteered you, but you have to unmute yourself. Oh, I cannot hear you. Can anyone else hear him? Oh, there you are.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
I'm Verizon. Now, hey, yeah. So there's a couple of wins I had the last couple of weeks, but one of them I happened to screw it up, and then the other one it ended up canceling. I set an appointment last week with a seller supposed to go on this Monday, and I completely forgot about it, and I didn't show up. Yeah, so I actually called him today, and I did not even remember the appointment. And he's all like, didn't we have an appointment on Monday? I'm like, oh shit. So I went through my records, and yeah, it ended up happening, but he's leaving town, and I wasn't able to get that listing because of that. So learn from Ozzy's mistake and write down your appointments.
Yeah. Are you using Mojo?
I am using Mojo, yeah. And I happen to not, I just wrote it down. I never transferred it over.
Okay. So one of the things I want to see you do is just the moment you set the appointment, do it right then, set it in Mojo.
Okay.
And make it a habit, and then have it connected to your calendar. It syncs right up with your Google Calendar if that's what you use.
Okay.
But that way you always remember, and when you do your RPMs, you'll have it. Cool. So the victory is you got an appointment, right? Like that's a victory if you even set the appointment in the first place, right?
Yeah. That was one of them. Yeah.
Cool. Nice work, man. Thanks for being on here, and thanks for being open and share with us. Great.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I'm going to read a couple of victories off of the Facebook page. Patrick Adams made an appointment for a double listing while looking for a house from a buyer. That's awesome. Tanya, who is the huntress, she said 2 big victories were the realizations that I need to refine some processes and setting 8 appointments. And she set 8 appointments. So that's awesome. Cool. And then Ralph had a couple big victories. He had 2 closings and set another FSBO appointment. So that's great news. Awesome, everybody, for the work. So let me just give you the rundown. What we're going to go through today is I'm going to answer Sid's question, and then I'm going to actually go through some for sell by owner stuff today, and then we're going to move into some marketing stuff and some, if we get to it, I want to get to where we go over the rules of engagement form, right? Now, if you remember, rules of engagement is the context. Write that word down, the context of the conversation. If you're watching this live or recorded, when we have a conversation, whether it's a FSBO, whether it's expired, whether it's a cold call, whether it's a referral, whether it's an SOI, it does not matter. We have a context, a template, a flow of conversation that we want to go through. And that's what we want to talk about today. Now, if you guys have questions coming up along the way or have already started with questions, put them in the chat box so I can read through those as we start to walk into this, okay? How many of you guys would like to make even more money today in real estate? Raise your hand. Yeah, cool. Anyone? No one? Raise it. What if there was a way you could actually get going on more and more for sell by owner appointments? I know that they're tough, but I'm going to go over a few rules for them, okay? Number 1, write this down, okay? For sell by owners is high intensity, high energy, and you've got to bring your A game, okay? Now, if there was ever a lead, and I don't subscribe to high pressure at all, just so you guys know, I'm really soft sales. But if there ever was a time where you want to be a little bit more pushy, so to speak, it would be with a for sale by owner, okay? Now, next rule is with a for sale by owner, never try to sell them on commission until they are sold on, and a lot of you guys feel this, I heard this, until they're sold on price. And never try to sell them on price until they're sold on you. But here's the key. When it comes to a for sale by owner, this is what I really want you to get, is never try to sell a for sale by owner on you until they're sold on a realtor. How many of you guys know who Floyd Wickman is? Anyone heard of Floyd Wickman? Okay, so Floyd Wickman was an old-time trainer, super funny guy, but he used to have this saying about for sale by owners. And it was, in order to get more for sale by owners, you have to kick the cockiness out of them. right? Who knows what I'm talking about there a little bit. When it comes to a for sale by owner, they kind of have this thing like, I know everything, right? Like, I don't need you, so to speak. And we don't want to sit and give them, oh, you need me, you need me, you need me. We want to sit and help educate them and put doubt into their mind, okay? We want to doubt into their mind. Write that down. By kicking the cockiness out of them, we're putting doubt in their mind. Doubt that they're going to get the most money particularly. Doubt that it's actually going to work out, okay? Not that you can do it, but there's the doubt that they can, okay? Here's the third thing you guys need to really, really know with a for sale by owner, okay? You must believe you are the best option. You have to believe that. If you believe that another realtor, or if you believe that even possibly for sale by owner is a better option than you, you're going to lose them. You must believe you are the best option. I'm going to take a note. My pen is broken. Also remember, in the chat box, you guys can put questions along the way. Okay. Now, let's look at, and we're going to be talking about later on even more so the rules of engagement, but I want to talk about a little bit of the rules of engagement with a for sale by owner. All right. Why do you think for sale by owners aren't using a realtor? Who can raise their hand, and let's go over a few things on why you don't think they are. Who calls for sale by owners, or who has called for sale by owners? Raise your hand first of all. Okay. Awesome. So a lot of you have. So let's start with Dan. I know you've called some before, and you've probably got beat up a little bit, right? Why do you think FSBOs don't use a realtor?
They want to save the commission money, keep it themselves.
Money. Bingo, bingo. That is the number one thing. Okay. Appreciate you for sharing, Dan. Now, is everyone on board and get that it's always about the money with the for sale by owner? Raise your hand if you get that. Okay. Remember, I think it was number 3 that I had you write down. Believe you are the best option. Okay. That also entails that you can actually and will get them the most money. One of the things that plays with our minds a little bit is this idea, well, if they do pay me 6-7%, how is it that I'm actually going to net them more money, right? Like, that's one of the questions that we even pop up. How am I going to convince them, or how am I going to show them that this is that it's a better option? Well, number one is just believe it. Just say, I'm going to get them more money, and they're not going to get more money, right? You don't need the story in between. You just need the belief. Okay. So believe that. But here, let's talk about some ways to help them understand that. Rule number 1 is you got to get the appointment. Okay. Write that down. Rule number 1 is you got to get the appointment. This is how you actually get them. Okay. And how you get the appointment is by you kind of using this discovery technique to understand what's their motivation. What is it that they want? Okay. Because once you can find that hot button and you push it over and over and over again, right? You start to find their doubt and push that, and you find their hot button and their motivation. You push those things over and over again, and then they will naturally invite you over. Okay. So when we get into the conversation to even find out what is important about it with them, we must understand that we have to get them saying yes in the beginning. So who can tell me with the for sale by owner script what the very first line is that I recommend? Does anyone know off the top of their head? You want me to give it to you? Anyone? Okay, Michael, you got it. Go ahead. What is it? Unmuted.
Hi, I was calling because my records indicate that your house is for sale by owner. Is that true?
Right. Awesome job. Perfect. So what I want you guys to understand about that question, so you know why it works, is it gets them to say yes. Think about it. If they say no, my house isn't for sale by owner, why are you even freaking talking to them? They're not. You don't even need to be on the conversation anymore. But the goal is to get them to say yes. And if you can get them to say yes in the first 4 to 6 seconds, typically the first 4 seconds, then you have more of an opportunity if you follow the context of the conversation. Now, you can find the exact script in the For Sale by Owner Prospecting Mastery Program, or if you're a fearless agent, the same exact script is there, okay? That script, we first want them to get the yes. Okay? Second thing is, how many of you guys have noticed that for sale by owners are a little closed off? Anyone notice that? Like they don't even really want to talk to you? We got to get them talking. Okay, we got to get them talking. So we must ask them questions. You know, what I like to end up really moving into right away with a for sale by owner is, well, how much are you asking for your house? Well, this is a great question for me in my experience, because people like to talk about how much their house is worth in their opinion. They like, now I don't even care what they say. I just want them talking. And so if they say, hey, I'm asking $250,000, I say, great, $250,000. That sounds like a great price point to be at in this market. What is the rule that I just did there with the context, or sorry, with the rules of engagement? I affirmed and I appreciated their question, or sorry, their answer. See, Ozzy had put it in here. I agreed with them. I just acknowledged their price of $250,000. I didn't tell them I could sell it at that price. I didn't make any promises here. I just said, hey, that's a great price point. I mean, who would like a listing right now at $250,000 for their market? Raise your hand if you would be cool with that. Is it a great price point, true or true? Right. And so we want to be, Dan's shaking his head, it's too low for me. It's too low. I need a 300, right? I need a 450, right? 250 is going to sell like hotcakes, no matter where you're at. It's a great price point, right? And we want to, whatever they say though, we want to just agree with them. Oh, that's a great price point. How many of you guys would like $1 million listing right now? Raise your hand. Right, that's a great price point. True or true? Oh man, that's a great price point. Is $1 million. Appreciate you sharing that with me. Now, a couple of other questions you can ask. You can ask them about the house. Hey, what's the layout of the house like? What's the layout? And then what they're going to say is they're going to start to talk about all the things they either like or hate about the house. Usually they talk about what they like. But what are the other agents talking about right now at this point? They're already talking about, hey, when can I come over and meet with you? Hey, I can help you get more money. Hey, let me show you my 27-point action plan. Hey, have you seen my website and how I get all this marketing done? Right? They're talking about them. We want to talk about the seller. Write that down. Talk about the seller and what they want. The word is motivation. So let's just go over a couple of things in motivation, okay? Now, here's the type of person you're looking for, and I'll give you an example. So I had called a for sale by owner. This was earlier in my career. I called a for sale by owner, and I set the appointment, and they had already, I don't remember when this was, 2012 or something. They had already bought a new house, and they had owned this one free and clear, but they borrowed a mortgage against it, and they borrowed a down payment against their retirement plan so they could purchase the other house, right? So the house was bigger, it was nicer. So anyways, they were kind of leveraged, and they'd already moved into the next house, and they had only a few things at this house. So they had motivation. You see what I'm saying? They had some reason behind it to move, okay? So you want to identify what's their reason behind. So that's the first thing, is what? What is the reason they are moving? So you start asking these questions and you get them talking with you. Then you start to slip in, hey, so when you sell your house, where are you going to move to next? Oh, we're going to move up to Heber City. Oh, Heber City. That sounds like a great place. I love it there. I'm just curious. What got you all excited to move to Heber City? Now they're going to say, well, you know what? I just retired. This was this person's example. I just retired. We wanted to live there for retirement, and we've already got a house up there. And so we really need to sell this one now. Who's starting to sense that this is a great motivation already? But here's what I want to point out to you. How often is it that we try to continue down the trail with a for sale by owner that they say, hey, you know what? If we can get this amount of money, we'll build a new house, okay? Now, we'll build a new house, or if I can get $500,000 and the home's worth $300,000, right? If I get $500,000, we'll buy something new. We'll buy something bigger. Which type of seller would you rather have? The one that's moving because he retired and he's already bought a house and he's committed to going, or the person that's like, if I can get this, then we'll sell and then we'll build. So it's right, Dan's already pointing up. We got to go for that motivated person. So here's the trick with for sale by owners. It's not about getting every one of them. It's not about getting every one of them. You want to get the ones that you know will actually make a move. Job transfer to Chicago, retiring, a divorce, a loss in the family. Not that those are fun to work with, but these are people that have motivation. Then we want to move to the question of why. Because most for sell by owners, and if you agree with me on this, put a yes in the comments, most for sell by owners are slightly insane. They're just a little bit not there. They just don't get it, okay? And what we want to be able to do is understand why they want to go by themselves. Now, we know it. It's about the money. They think they can get more money. And we know and we believe, because that's one of our rules, that no, we are the best option. But they're not going to really just, bow down to us if we say, hey, I'm the best option. We've got to help them understand. So you're going to ask this question, and it's, well, I'm curious because you brought it up, Mr. For Sell by Owner, right? You're obviously trying to sell your house. You're going to embed the command there, without having it on the market with a real estate person. I'm curious, is that because you hate realtors or what is it? How many of you heard that question before? It's a trick question because we know why they're doing it and we want them to say why they're doing it. No matter if they put it into these words, we want them to say it's about the money. It's about the money. And guess what we're automatically going to do when they tell us it's about the money, okay? We're going to quickly say, it's about the money. Really, is that the only thing, right? We want to get the money. And it's as Michael put in here, is it the principle of the thing or is it about the money, right? And we want them to say it's about the money, okay? Because that's going to lead them up to the magic question. We all know about the magic question inside the Prospecting Mastery Program. But here's a couple of examples of people that have high motivation and people that have low motivation. Number one, they got a job transfer because they're moving to Chicago. They had a military transfer and they must leave because they're restationed. Lost a job and can't afford to live there anymore. They have 10 people living in 1,000 square feet. That's a high motivation. They're having twins. That might be a motivation. Getting a divorce, charge more for these ones. They're moving for medical needs. How many people need to move from one state to the other for different altitudes? That's very common here where we live. Or they're in default on their payments. They can't afford their house anymore. Okay, so those are some high motivations. Low motivations is they want to upgrade, but they don't have to. Whenever you hear someone, I don't have to sell my house, be always a little leery. They want to sell, but only bought it 6 to 12 months ago. That's probably not a high motivated person. Want to move, but to one specific house only, right? When you have a person like, oh yeah, we want to move, but we only want this one house that came on the market. So if we can sell our house, we'll get that house. But if we can't sell our house before that one sells, then we're not going to move, right? That is a very common trick with for sell by owners. Someone that says, if we can get X, then we will move. One spouse wants to move and the other spouse does not. That's always going to cause you problems, okay? And another low motivation is anything that gives you major doubt about how serious they are in actually moving. So your job is to be a detective with these FSBOs. Are they freaking crazy or are they people that are motivated? And you're looking for clues that make them crazy, okay? And there are a lot of them that are crazy. So once you start to understand their motivation, okay, and you can find out a little bit more of their motivation before you ask that question, hey, what is it because you hate realtors? You can find out more of their motivation before you ask that question, okay? But the key is every time they answer, we want to use the flow of harmony from the rules of engagement. And we want to stay in rapport. Staying in rapport is affirming, it's appreciating, it's agreeing, it's agreeing, it's agreeing. We want to stay connected as much as possible. Because if we get disconnected with a FSBO, which could happen, then that could really set us off track to get the appointment. That could really set us off track to not get the contract signed. Because how many of you guys, raise your hand, I really want you to think about this, or put a yes in the comments if you're watching the replay. How many times do you hear a for sale by owner just say something just asinine, crazy, like just ridiculous? Who's heard that before? That's okay. Don't fight it. Don't disagree with it. Just don't, it doesn't need to make logical sense for you. But what you need to do is push to get the appointment. And then once you get the appointment, you've gone through, are they motivated? You're checking this out. Are they high motivated or low motivated? Okay. I want to share with you guys a trick that I used to do with for sale by owners. Now, Who's noticed there might be fewer FSBOs today? Who's noticed that? Anyone? Or do you guys have a lot of FSBOs in your area? Okay. So there are fewer FSBOs today because inventory is down. We used to have a lot. They're a little bit down here, right? But one of the tricks that you have to understand is double stack your appointments with FSBOs. So if you set an appointment for Thursday at 5, set 2 of them at Thursday at 5 with FSBOs, because one of them's going to cancel and you're going to cancel on one of them. But your goal is to get on an appointment. Now, here's kind of the numbers when it comes to FSBOs. If you set 10 appointments, okay, you're going to probably get on 4 to 5 of those, maybe 4 of them if you're lucky. Now, if you're using the Remind, I think it's called Remind, that Michael shared with us a few weeks ago, you may be able to reduce that by finding FSBOs with more equity in them. Okay, you might be able to reduce that. Okay. So when we talk about rapport and the rules of engagement with a FSBO, we want to get into rhythm. How many of you guys have heard the conversation with a FSBO where you just are completely out of sync, nothing's going right, and it's just terrible, right? That's great because it helps you understand you're out of rhythm, you're out of the flow. You want to be able to get into a flow of conversation, get them laughing a little bit, get them agreeing with you, get them appreciating you. And the way you do that is by appreciating them. Got it? The more, I wanted to share this with you. The more you can get in rapport with a person, the more pleasant the conversation will be and the more help you can give them. Because the more you can be trusted, the more you can implement a direction for them. Got it? So here's some examples of how we listen to the prospect. They say, we're moving to Chicago. Oh, I hear you. So you're going to be moving to Chicago, and that sounds like a great area. What takes you there in the first place? So you want to repeat back, I hear you, or I see, you're moving to Chicago. Sounds like a great place, a great opportunity. What takes you there? So whenever you affirm back to them, ask a new question, because the new question is what keeps the flow moving. Are you guys with me? Nod your head and say, yes, I'm with you, Colton. Say, yes, I got it, Colton. Now you can use this with any type of lead. We're specifying at FSBOs today. Now, here's another one. We're asking $250,000. Oh, okay, great. You're asking $250,000. We talked about this earlier. That's a great price point. Where are you moving to when you sell your house? Right? Seller says, we're selling it ourselves to save the commission. Oh, I see. So you're selling it yourself to save the commission. Sounds like it's about the money. Is that the only thing, is the money? And then they're going to say, well, no, that's pretty much it. And then you can actually follow up to some more questions of like, hey, what's important about getting the most money in your pocket, Mr. For Sale by Owner? Why is that important for you? Well, it's important because I got 5 kids to move and every dollar counts. So guess what? Their kids are their motivation. The money becomes the motivation to take care of their kids. Who gets a little motivated with money and their kids? Just a little bit. And for those of you that have kids, right? I know y'all raising your hand. For those of you who don't have kids, you'll understand one day, right? So, okay. So if you knew, and this is just kind of a question you could ask, I'm not saying you have to, but if you knew that by doing it that way would actually cost you money and have you less money for your kids, would you do it that way, or would you do it another way that actually gets you more money for your kids? I mean, which one would you choose? Okay. Oh, you would choose a way that has more money for your kids? See what you're saying? You gotta slightly put in those little pressure things, but it's easy to forget. How many know what I'm talking about? Like, you know what I'm talking about, but then you get there and you freeze because it's uncomfortable. And as we know, the breakthrough membrane is we got to do what's uncomfortable. Even if it's embarrassing, even if it's weird, even if we're going to get judged by it or we're going to mess it up, right? You can't lose something you never had. Got it? So the goal is, though, get them to talk about where they're moving, what it's important about them moving, and why they're doing for sell by owners to save them money. And you want to set them up for the magic question. Who can share with me the magic question? Who's either a fearless agent or gone through prospecting mastery that knows the magic question and can share it with me? All right, Fran Angelico, you're going to unmute you. Go ahead, share it with us.
Yeah, basically it's, I wanted to let you know that by doing business with me, 2 things doing business with me virtually guarantees you 2 things. One is that your house would actually sell, but the other is that you'd end up with significantly more money bottom line than you could get any other way. And that's with or without an agent. If you knew that to be true, would you even want to hear more about it? And be honest.
Yep, there it is. So we want to do a couple things. And I want to break down this question for you guys. If you knew 100% for certain, thanks for Angelo, by the way, for doing that. Appreciate you. And that's awesome that you know that question, because this question will make you millions of dollars, no matter if it's a FSBO or not. But if you knew 100% for certain doing business with me, two things would happen. One is you sell your house. Okay. Notice I say one is you sell your house. That's embedding the command. Two is you end up with way more money in your pocket than you could get any other way, with or without an agent. I know it's a big promise. If you knew that were true, would you want to hear about it? Be honest with me. Now you're looking for one of three answers to know what to go next. One, you're looking for a yes, so you can move to set the appointment. That's what you really want to get, is a yes. You're looking for a no, because if they're no, you can just confirm that they're super crazy at that point. Like, no, I don't want more money. I think it's a terrible idea to get more money. And you're like, okay, cool. We'll see you later. You're crazy. But the third thing is, it's the trick. It's the story that they give you. Who knows what I'm talking about here a little bit? Well, you know what? I'm going to be trying it on my own for 30 days, and then I've got a friend we're going to list with. And that's them not answering the question. Say, okay, I understand. You've got a friend you're going to list with if you don't sell on your own in the next 30 days or so. Is that right? Is that what I understand? Yep, that's exactly right. So let me just ask you that question a little differently. If you knew 100% for certain that by doing business with me, two things would happen. One is you sell your house. Two is you end up with way more money in your pocket. I know it's a big promise, but if it were true, would you even want to hear more about it? And be honest with me. You would? Okay, awesome. No worries. Let's do this. So then you're going to ask the question again and again until they give you a yes or no. You want the yes or no. Okay? That's really, 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 really what you want to ask. And a great question that Michael says, okay, so when I make you tens of thousands of dollars extra, would you take that money, or are you allergic to it? That is a great question to ask, because it makes them think. It makes them be like, wait, I wouldn't say no to tens of thousands of dollars. So that's what you want to do to the person that keeps kind of avoiding the question, that doesn't say no or doesn't say yes. Or you even want to say it to the person that says no, just to make sure they're crazy. Maybe they are allergic to money. Maybe they're a little out there, okay? And we want to get them to the yes. Now, what happens if they say, yeah, maybe I'd want to hear about it? Say, okay, so you definitely would want to hear about it? Repeat that. Okay, so you definitely would want to hear about it? Get the solid yes, okay? Now, I want to do a timeout just for a second. We're going to put this stuff to the side. And who's heard this stuff before? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you've even heard this. I want you to write this down, and I know you've heard this before as well. Repetition is the mother of all skill. Repetition is the mother of all skill. I am never going to share anything that's amazingly different than what you can hear completely free out there on the internet. But what I am going to do is I'm going to repetitively bring it to you, to your awareness, so you get to choose Michael. You get to choose Tanya, Frangelico, Ozzy, Patrick. You get to make the choice once it's consciously there. Do I repetitively grow this skill set, or do I not? All right. So we're going to time it back in, get back on the session of, once they say, yes, I'd want to hear about it, you're going to then move to, after yes, they want to hear about it. Okay, well, why don't I do this? I don't mind. Why don't I swing over for 20 minutes or so, take a look at your house, share with you how I do business. I think you'll be impressed. Worst case scenario, you kick me out after 20 minutes or so. So you're going to set them up for the close. You're going to make it feel like they're inviting you over. So why don't I do this? I don't mind. I'm going to do you a favor. Why don't I swing over for 20 minutes or so, take a look at the house. That way you can take a look at me. And while I'm there, I'll share with you how I do business. I think you'll be impressed, because it helps a lot of people put tens of thousands of dollars of money in their pocket. Would you be okay with that? Would you risk kicking me out after 20 minutes or so? And once they say yes, you go, awesome. I think that is a great idea. I agree with you. Let me come over. So you reaffirm that it's their idea, okay? And then they're going to just be like, okay, and you share, do early afternoons work, or are later afternoons better? Because you want to start to identify, is it an afternoon that's going to work for them? Because if it is later afternoon, you can give them 2 later afternoon options versus an early and a later afternoon option. If it's an early afternoon option, you can give them 2 early afternoon options. Because when you get to the close, it's like Two options. Early afternoon or later afternoon. They say later afternoon. Okay. Does today at 5 work, or is Wednesday at 5 o'clock better? You see what I'm saying? And then they're going to tell you a day and a time, and you say, awesome. I appreciate you inviting me over to your house. I will not disappoint you. In fact, it will be the best 30 minutes of your night. Fair enough? And they're going to say, fair enough. Awesome. And then guess what? We got them finishing with agreeing with us. So we start by getting them to say yes, and we agree. And then we flip it in the middle so that they're agreeing with us. You guys following me here a little bit? Say yes, nod your head. I got it, Colton. We're going to do this. Now, here's a trick that I learned with for sell by owners. The further out you schedule the appointment, the more likely it is to cancel. The further it out you schedule the appointment with a FSBO, the more likely it is to cancel. So try to get FSBOs today or tomorrow or even the next day at the very latest. Now, if you can't get it in that short window, that's okay. Set the appointment anyways, because then you're going to follow up in a few days to reaffirm the appointment. Got it? Okay, so let's stop for just a second and let's open it up to some questions. Once I set the appointment, here's a question from Michael Wade. Do I ask the $1 million question about the equity to close it out? I asked that question after I set the appointment as I'm going through and qualifying them. So great question. So the question he's asking is, hey, if you had to win $1 million by guessing correctly, what price realistically do you think a buyer would pay for your house? Okay, that's what basically the question is. Okay, and what we want to do is ask that question after we've already got the appointment set. Great question. Cool. So let's go ahead and use the raise your hand button. I see you, Christian, Angelico, taking a lot of notes, Ozzy. And let's go and just share one or two things. Either one, a question, or two, what was your biggest takeaway? Now, you can volunteer or I'll call you guys in 5. And by the way, David, that's right. I thought it said real estate something there before. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tanya, thank you for volunteering. What was your takeaway or your question?
Am I unmuted?
You're good to go.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Gotcha.
Okay. My biggest takeaway was to stay in rapport, to keep agreeing, stay in.
Awesome.
I am guilty sometimes of wanting to push back because I want them to agree with me.
Yeah.
So I am guilty. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yep. A lot of high Ds are guilty. Glad you brought that up. And in fact, you'll be so good at that you'll get them to say yes to an appointment, but they'll probably cancel on you later, right? So that if you're finding that is happening, that's something you can shift pretty quickly. Great share.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tanya. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, next person would like to go. Raise your hand. Ozzy's got his fingers up. Go ahead, Ozzy.
And I think, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear.
Okay, all right, cool. I think she made a great point because I think that goes back to what you were mentioning on the flow of conversation. I mean, I set appointments just like that where you're not necessarily in a flow of conversation, but you could still set that appointment. Maybe because you were too pushy. Well, in my case, I don't know about hers. And then they end up canceling, or they end up not showing to their own property or things like that.
Yep. Now, also though, that's still, and I appreciate you guys both bringing that up. We still can be a little bit pushy, especially if we're going to focus on getting them to meet today or getting us to tomorrow, especially if they're high motivation, right? When we've determined that they're moving to Chicago for job transfer, we're high motivation. When we've determined that they need to move because they've got a baby coming in October and they need to be done by the end of August, we're going to push even harder. We're going to say, hey, today or tomorrow work. And now I don't care how busy you guys are. You'll figure out how to get an appointment today or tomorrow. Yes or yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great share, Ozzy. All right, let's have our next share, either a question or a takeaway. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, David, for being here with us today. David Doom, can you hear me, my friend? And we cannot hear your sound. Oh,
hello?
There we go. There we go. We got you.
Yeah, it's my first call. Really enjoying this, guys. Thank you. A couple things I got out of this was not to talk about ourselves and to continue to ask questions and focus on them. And then I felt something you said was really good, Colton. When we don't want them all, we only want the ones that are actually going to sell.
Yep.
I can push myself into a lot of places and make myself think I've got a good appointment, and really, it's not, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Because we trick ourselves, right? We trick ourselves. So be confident in your standards. I love that share, David. That is such an awesome share for everyone. Write that down. Be confident in your standards. Thank you for sharing. All right. Let's go ahead. Any other questions or anyone want to share before I move on? You've got your hand up, Christian. You're on mute. Whoops, I just muted you. There you go, Christian. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know, until I found you, I really didn't have any direction with for sale by owners. You know, it was sort of like call them up. Hopefully they're in a good mood when you talk to them. And thank you for that. I appreciate that. You kind of given me this like calling for sale by owner confidence, you know, and actually calling everyone confidence. You know, it's not just the confidence to call for sale by owner it's expired or just to ask for a referral even. You know, so thank you for that. I wanted to ask you, like in the beginning, you were talking about how many for sale by owners you double them up, how many appointments you would try to set for those for sale by owners per week or whatever. I can't remember because I'm driving, so I was trying to listen, and I got a baby in the backseat, so I was trying to pay attention to that.
Great. So the question, make sure I understand it, Christian, is how many appointments, FSBO appointments, do I want to try and set per week? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, and then you said something about like maybe double them up because you know some of them are not going to use.
Right.
And our MLS here uses we get Remind for free. So I'm not even sure. I didn't watch that one. I'm sure I can go back and watch the one where you guys were talking about Remind, but they're pushing it real big right now, talking about right now. What significant using Remind, would you say?
Yeah, so go watch that call a few calls back with Michael, and then let's talk about that. But yeah, I think that could help in finding some good information for them. So to answer your question is number one is set as many FSBO appointments per week as you can, right? We want to know that our target for total appointments is 5 or more. But the ratio is if you set 10 FSBO appointments, count on at least 6 of them canceling or you canceling on them. So if you set one appointment with a FSBO, you've got a 40% chance that you'll end up presenting at it, okay? 40% chance that you'll end up presenting at it, okay? So what you've got to be able to do is not be worried about offending them before you set the appointment, because you can't lose it ever. It was never yours to begin with. Understand that. So if you're setting 5 per week, then plan on getting on, what would that be? Get on one of those, right? Or wait, would that be? I'm trying to do the math in my head. So times up. Yeah, you probably need to be on about 1 of every 5 that you set, roughly around there. Maybe 2 of every 5 that you set would be a good number. Okay, 1 to 2 of every 5 you set. Got it? Did that help you out, Christian?
Great. Okay. Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Who else has a question for me before we move on to the next page stuff, next pot? Cool. Awesome. We're going to go next. Also, if you guys are watching the replay here in the Facebook group, make sure you can drop comments down below, tag my name so I can come back and answer those. Okay. So I want to just go over some steps as far as with marketing, because we know that we want to set appointments, but how many of you want to make even more easier appointments? How many of you want easier appointments, right? Easier appointments come with relationship building. Write that down. Easier appointments come with relationship building. Easier appointments come with relationship building, okay? And what we want to do, and Dan is a great example of this, doing a freaking block party in your people farm is phenomenal, by the way, is you want to be able to build the relationship with them. Write that down, build the relationship with them, okay? So let me just get to where I was gonna go. So we talked a little bit about this. When we talk about building relationships, it's about marketing. Marketing is another way for building relationships. Networking is another word for relationships. Okay. So I want to share this before I move on because I saw this in the comments. Michael Wade said he set 9 FSBO appointments, 7 of them canceled. He went in 2, he signed 1. So if you set 10, you'll sign 1. The goal is, how do I set 10 appointments? Get more hungry for appointments no matter what they say. Great share. Thank you. So we want to look at marketing made simple, and it's about getting your brand and understanding that your brand isn't your logo. Your brand is what, or your logo is what represents your brand. Your brand is your tribe. It's your network. Okay. Marketing is what grows your brand, is what grows your network, is what grows your tribe, is what grows your relationships. Are you with me? Shake your head and say yes. Second part of marketing made simple is you want to understand, and we talked about this recently, what is your message? What is your message? What do you stand for? Like, if we all know that Dan stands for, he's the corgi guy, right? Like, everyone knows that, right? That's part of his message. That's part of what he brings to his network. And a lot of his network is into that as well, right? So that's why I'm always about make a difference. Got it? Third is distribution. This is how simple it is. How are you going to distribute to your brand, to your relationships, to your network, your message? That's going to be, and we talked about this through, the postcards, the emails. We're not going to go in details with that, the retargeting, things like that. Okay. And I still got your question, Sid, we're going to get to here in a second. Okay. Now, what we want to be able to identify, though, how do we build our network? How do we put people into their network? I mean, I'm not going to talk about the distribution today, but I'm going to talk about, understand you've got to create a funnel. You've got to create a way to put people in there. Now, there are FSBOs, expireds, and open houses. There are incoming leads. There are cold calls. There are people farm or your follow-ups. There's your SOI and your past clients. Okay. And then there's doing events for these people. So events could be part of the distribution, but it could be part of putting people into the funnel as well. So for example, what we'll oftentimes do is we'll invite our hot leads to our block party like Dan did. But we'll also invite a lot of our past clients, our friends, our family, our supporters. So you can see that can play both filling the funnel and a marketing distribution technique. All right. And one thing I want to point out, FSBOs and expireds, they're not the most awesome people to build your people farm with. Got it? They're not the most awesome people to build your people farm with, your network with. They're awesome to get now business, but the odds are if you don't get an appointment with them, you're never doing business with them. You might have a better chance if you do a long-term follow-up with an expired, but most FSBOs, if you do not get an appointment with them, but just market to them long-term for a couple of years, you're never going to do business with them. They're either going to A, list with someone else and sell, or B, they're going to sell it on their own, or C, they're never going to listen to you and sell it on their own anyways in the future, or do something else, right? So I would encourage you, it's your business, but I would encourage you not to fill your people farm with a lot of FSBOs and expireds. Got it? Shake your heads if you hear me. Move around a little bit. Got it. Now, I want to go back to the question that Sid had. He said, hey, everyone, I went ahead and uploaded my custom audience on Facebook. Now, if you guys don't remember, go back and watch a few videos ago. It's on retargeting marketing is what he's talking about. I did not upload the phone numbers or names, just the email addresses. Got this far, started the ad campaign. Question is, if I come across a few more email addresses from my recent prospecting, how do I add these custom email audience? I would like to add a few every day as I find the leads while prospecting. So very simple. All you're going to do is keep them you got to put them into an Excel file or a CSV file. And then you just go to import and you add it to the list inside of, this one was Facebook, right? So I can share with you real quick how to do that. Make sure that I can pull it up. So what we're going to do is put in the chat box, if you guys can hear me, not hear me, see this. Okay, everyone see it? All right, David said yes. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come over to your home page on Facebook. You're gonna come to Ad Managers. Maybe we're going to go to Ad Managers. Yep, we're there. So once you get up here, well, it's still loading. Hold on. This is taking longer than I'd hoped. Here we go. So you're going to click on the Ads Manager button here, and then you're going to click on Audiences. Oh, whoops, I just missed it. Okay, what you need to do, and it's not working, let me try and refresh it, is you need to click on Ads Manager and you need to go to your audiences. When you click on audiences, this goes slow when I'm streaming and sharing. So you're going to pick whoops, I need to accept this. Sorry. So on custom audience, I need to accept that. So I'm going to come over here, and so we'll go to just our WGR, I'm supposed to say emails. Click on that. And then I'm going to do an action, and I'm going to click edit. So Sid, hopefully you're following along here. And I'm going to add customers. And here I'm just going to upload the file from whoever, and then you go pick the file, upload it, and then you're going to have the opportunity to click next here. Bingo, bango, it take you through the steps, and it will actually add those people to the list. So what I would recommend that you do is that you go through those steps maybe once a week. And if you don't have an assistant, have your assistant do it. But if you don't have one, just do it maybe once a week. If you get 20 new leads that week, then just kind of add it to it when you grow your people farm. Did that answer your question, Sid?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Cool. So any other questions on that to deal with that? No? Let me go back to, whoops, I closed my thing. Awesome. Oh, Christian, you've got your hand up. You might, oops, I just muted you. Now, there you go. Go ahead, Christian.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so real quickly, that's a really complicated subject. The Facebook thing, adding, I know it looks very simple, adding your entire database or the people that are in your people farm to Facebook. I haven't done any of that yet. So I'm planning to do it. I want to do it. I just haven't got to that point yet where I'm doing that. And creating a brand, I have a logo already, but creating a brand and deciding what I want that to be is also part of that too.
Cool.
So I guess for me, I'm trying to figure out what, so this is just everybody in your people farm you're doing this with, and you're taking an Excel file and putting it into Facebook, correct?
Yeah, so great question. So I do a lot of people, but definitely one of them is just the people farm. And to kind of piggyback onto that, his question from Sid in the comments is, does it help to add phone numbers in Facebook? Yes, it absolutely does, guys. Because what you got to understand is Facebook and even Google, how many of you guys have observed they collect a lot of freaking data? Yes or yes, right? So odds are they've got these people's data in there, and it's going to link it up to their connection. It's going to find their profile, and you're going to be able to market directly to them. And it's really inexpensive. So I would recommend, Christian, go back and watch that video a few weeks ago. Also, I've already got most of it made, but we're releasing the attraction-based marketing product here very soon. It is extremely in-depth, not only with the concept of the how-to use all of the marketing, not just the retargeting, but then there's specific templates and screen shares walking you through step-by-step how to get it going for yourself. It's going to be amazing. But we had a video where I went through and I I did it for you a few calls ago. Just go search the videos, and it literally, I show you exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
Cool. It's easier than it looks, by the way, guys. Right, Sid? Oh, Sid, is it easier to put them in there than it looks?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's easy. And once it's in the system, then you don't have to just manage it. You don't have to work on it.
Yep. Thank you for sharing that, Sid. So a lot of us think that it's actually kind of hard or a lot of work or complicated because we're not used to it. But just take a half hour and sit down, and you're probably done with it in 15 minutes. Any other questions, Christian?
No, I think that's it. But so just starting out with just my people farm would probably be a step above what I'm doing right now.
Yep. And I also, if you have a bunch of emails, like I have my entire email list on there, which is about 6,500 emails, it's in there. So it's a separate list, so I can choose who to target to, right? But
Okay.
yeah, that's one thing you want to do. All right?
Cool. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. In fact, why don't I do this, guys, while I got you? I need to do this anyways in front of Joe. I'm going to come back. Actually, while we're going, ask your question, and I'm going to be bringing up a paper or a page. But go ahead and ask your question while I'm doing this. You might have to unmute yourself.
All right, so my question is for the AdWords, because my people farm isn't that huge. I get this notice on Google that says you need like 1,000 people. What's the deal with that? Is that true, or until it goes out, or what's that about?
You know what? I've always had more than 1,000 people, so I don't know the answer for that. But if you post that question in the Facebook group and tag me, I'll connect with Greg. But you may need to add some fake people in there to just get it going. And it's not going to be expensive. And by fake, I mean, you could come up with using Mojo Neighborhood, or you could use Kohl's, and you could come up with enough people to make it 1,000. And you can change that list later on. Okay? So I'm going to try and open and share with you guys because I need to do this anyways. Now, this is going to be in-depth how-to with explanation as well. But I want to remember repetition is the mother of all skill, but it's going to be really in-depth into the program. I'm going to show you exactly how I make an ad for my market or for the people that I target, okay? So just give me a second. I'm going to load these. Now, right now, guys, what we are talking about is the long-term easy appointments, okay? You have to build the relationship. What we talked about earlier with FSBOS and even with cold calls is part of that. That's how we get now business. Oops, I'm on the wrong one here. Sorry, it's taking slow here. I need to add an account. So let me screen share this now. I can find it. Okay. So let's share it. Can everyone see that? Put into the chat box, yes, if to make sure you can see it. I actually, so we got a private question. Michael said, would you agree that if we're not getting 5 appointments a week, we shouldn't even worry about the marketing? I actually disagree with that, especially when it's your sphere of influence, because I can take an hour and get this all set up in autopilot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my campaigns. Hopefully I'm going to go to my campaigns. There we go. And we got a few of them here. Let's scroll up. So what I'm going to do is that we use is there's difference here because you can see this is a little picture. These are called banner ads, and we're going to teach you that inside of attraction-based marketing. But this one is a video ad. Video ads are much more inexpensive to do. My average cost, and you can see it on the right, is 12 cents a video view. Okay, here's some of the videos that I've marketed to people into my area. So the one I currently have running is what's called Vlog 48. So I'm going to pause that, and I'm going to put up a new one. And I know it works because I literally have past clients post on my Facebook, hey, we just saw your ad on YouTube. That's pretty cool. And I think I shared that with you guys the other day inside of the Alliance. But that is 100% proof, Michael, why we don't want to wait, because we want our past clients to see what we're doing. That does not mean you're not prospecting and focusing on 5 appointments. So what I'm going to do is, for me, I'm going to name the vlog, and this one actually, or the video. This is one I did with Brian Casella. So I'm going to call it Brian Casella because it was an interview. It's a clip I did. I'm going to do maximum click per view is $1. I'm going to create my audience. Now my audience is, I've already uploaded this. We shared you how to do this a couple of weeks ago. It's a customer list. For me, I'm going to use my MailChimp email list, my unsubscribed MailChimp email list, my SOI from Mojo, and that's it. That's all I'm going to use because my MailChimp emails contains my people farm, okay? And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to find this video, and I don't want to play it. It's, oh no, this is not the one I wanted to do. Actually, I'm going to change it. I actually did the wrong one. Hold on. I'm going to use this one with Danny Morrell because it appears that I don't have the right link. But I'm going to grab this one. And how many of you guys know Danny Morrell? Good friend of mine. We fly out to Ranch Cucamonga and hang out with him in the end of August. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to change that name of that one, though, and call it Danny Morrell. I may have already done this one before, but we'll do it again. And then what we're going to do is you add your YouTube link in here. You click the in-stream ad where I want them to go, which in this case is my Utah Home Values.com, which goes to my website, thewjr.com. And I'm just going to name the ad Danny Morrell. Save and continue. Kind of reminds me of my mantra, correct and continue. So now that ad is going to get qualified and run. So you can see that's how it works. Pretty simple. And you can see I can pause or turn any of these on at any time that I want. All right. So let's go back, and I'm actually going to pause one more while I'm in here. So what I do oftentimes is, and I'll show you this, this is the same concept, but it's actually, how many of you guys, put yes in the comments because you can't see me, have seen one of my retargeting videos for you guys? Anyone? Put a yes if you've seen it. Well, maybe you don't even know it's retargeting. How many of you guys have seen some of my stuff, my vlogs or otherwise on before? Fred Angelico says he did, right? So more than likely you're in this category over here where I market to, okay? Tanya says yes. So I just want to share, I want to put that on pause, stop the share. And let's open it up to questions on this because I know we've gone over it a few times. Any questions on this? Okay, so I think I see Franzenko posting around on his phone. So what we're going to do then is take a timeout and we're going to go back to the marketing that we were talking about. And I want to write down with you 5 things, and then we're going to open it up to small house. 5 things that you need to know about marketing your SOI and your past clients, because this makes it extremely easy to set appointments in the future. When is it coming out? I was hoping to have it out already, but Greg's laptop got stolen in Japan, so we're delayed a little bit because it's all of the story, but we'll be here soon. So number one thing I want you to write down is for marketing mindset. So when you think marketing, you're thinking building your network. You're thinking creating your brand. Number one is create value for them. Create massive value for them. So this is your SOI, this is your past clients, this is your people farm. These are the people that you're in the network that you're growing relationships with, that you're networking with. Yes? Smile and say yes. Number two is, this is really important to understand. Okay, guys? Especially when this happens to you where a friend chooses to do business with someone else versus you, okay? They owe you nothing. Your network, the people in your brand, your relationships that you're building, they owe you nothing. Number three, your emotion is about state management. How do I feel better? How do I go to a positive state? And you know when you're in a negative state by your feelings or emotions. Now, one of the things that we want to do is if we get to a feeling of anxiousness or fear or doubt, and that affects us physically, we want to acknowledge that it's just a physical sensation and it'll go away. And we want to shift our patterns either through breathing or through exercise or reading a book or going on a walk. But number three most important thing in your marketing mindset is manage your emotion, because the people will read your emotions. They will sense your emotions. Got it? They want to be a part of a brand, a tribe, a network with positive emotions. Number four, high energy, high enthusiasm, service-oriented. Be all about contribution. All about that with high energy and enthusiasm, contributing over and over again. And number five is understand there is a breakthrough membrane. Have I shared the breakthrough membrane with you guys before? So basically a breakthrough membrane is this. You've got a barrier, a wall. And on the lower part of that barrier is what I call the comfort zone. On the upper part of that barrier is what I call the freedom zone. We went over this in great detail in New Orleans at our mastermind. Now we've got to go from the comfort zone to the freedom zone, and we have to go through the barrier. We have to get through the membrane. The number one way to get through the membrane is get uncomfortable, and you get comfortable getting uncomfortable. Part of getting comfortable and comfortable is you have to practice relaxation. All successful individuals have made mistakes, but they've learned how to relax through the challenges. Okay? So those are the five. Create value. They owe you nothing. Manage your state of emotions. Go to high energy and enthusiasm with contribution. And focus on getting through the breakthrough membrane. Getting through the breakthrough. So part of the breakthrough membrane is we're going to, and he hopped off the call, but Christian earlier said, I haven't got yet to put my list in. We'll use Sid as well as an example. So Christian is in the comfort zone on the lower side of the breakthrough membrane, and Sid has already broken through the membrane because he relaxed. He set a point, he set a time to do it, and he got his list put into Facebook. Is it perfect right now for Sid? No. But is he started? Yes. And that's the first step. And now he can improve it each time. He's going to get better at adding that list. He's going to get better at growing that list. He's going to get better at the content he puts out to that list and the marketing pieces. What we want to do is keep it simple. Okay? All right, gang. So we're going to wrap it up for that part, and we're going to open it up to some questions or some takeaways. So you know the drill. I'll count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Fran Angelico, you are my pick, so you have to unmute yourself. What is your takeaway or question?
My takeaway is to go back to FSBOS, because I've been, because yeah, they are a little bit off, and so I really focused on expired, canceled, and cold calls, trying to figure out how to build a database. So yeah, definitely going to FSBOS again.
Awesome. Afternoon. Cool. So remember, I love that you brought this up. Our database, our network, our brand, our past clients, our sphere of influence, that's great, but that's future business. And it's a continual work in progress. It's continually weeding the garden and growing the garden. FSBOS, expires, cold calling, got to get now business. Sign calls, open houses, you got to do the now business as well. You've got to do the now business as well. In fact, it's almost as extremely important if you have no business. And then you start to add in more and more growth. But do a little bit at a time to grow that database. Don't do all of the marketing techniques that I showed you, but do some of them. Start with something, right? Okay, great share. Love it. Michael Wade, go ahead. And what's your takeaway or share for today?
That even if you have 5 appointments, you should still be doing something in terms of marketing.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. How much time would it get you? And this is an example. How much time would it take you, Michael, to get a template of a postcard put together and send out a postcard to 200 people once a month? Would that take very much time?
Probably not.
Right. And if we know repetition is the mother of all skill, we know it's about the repetition of the postcard. It's not the postcard. It's about the 12 postcards that go out over the next 12 months. It's not about the email. It's about the 52 emails that go out over the next 52 weeks. It's not about the client appreciation event. It's about the next 3 events over the next 12 months. It's not about the retargeting ad. It's about them seeing that video over and over and over and over and over again. You guys with me here? So if we don't start the first one, we can't repetitively do it a second, third, fourth, fifth, 600th time. Great share. Thanks so much, Michael.
Not a problem.
Cool. All right, we're going to move over. Anyone else would like to share, go ahead. Otherwise, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dan McLemore, are you there still, Dan? I don't see your picture, but I see your name. Dan has vanished. So we're going to move over to Tyson. Are you there? We haven't seen your picture at all, though. Let's at least bring you on, Tyson. Can you hear us?
Hello. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we've seen you sitting there in the shadows for a bit. So what's your number one takeaway since you've been on today, and or a question that you might have?
Well, I just came on board, so this is my first call with you guys. I just signed up on Tuesday, and so I got on late Mountain Time. I'm on Pacific, but my takeaway is I've played around with some of the Facebook ads before, and I haven't had like a system, and I didn't know about putting in a database. So I have a database, a small one, but it's something, so I can start playing around with that and give it a shot. So
yeah. So understand, I'm so grateful you brought this up. There are a lot of people that teach Facebook ads out there. Most people are teaching you cold Facebook leads. You don't need to pay for cold leads because guess what? You've got Cole's resource. You got Mojo Neighborhood Search. They just released cell phone numbers. You've got that data to call cold people. You don't need cold people opting into your paid ads. What you want to use is retargeting ads, where it keeps your brand, your name, your information, your message in front of your network over and over again. I'm so grateful you brought that up, Tyson. Thank you for sharing that. Great share.
Sure. Thanks.
Cool. All right, Sid, you're up, my man. What's your number one takeaway from today's conversation?
Well, I have not been making the for sale by owner calls, so I'm thinking I should get back into that and do that, add to my prospecting. So
yeah,
that's the takeaway.
That's definitely something that you should do, is get back on making those calls. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to follow up with just a few things on the Facebook page. Let me just make sure everyone is good here. Great. So we got a question here so here's one. Tanya says, I'm stuck in yesterday instead of focusing on today. Yeah, that's something that gets us all. Our over-analytical brain wants to process the whole first year at once. And that's actually called your frontal cortex, right? It's like, our frontal cortex is like, oh, I need a problem to solve. Here's a problem to solve. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to solve this problem. And then you're like, oh, damn this problem. Why do I always have a problem to solve? And then you're like, oh, I solved that problem. Oh, I don't have a problem to solve. I need another problem to solve. What's the problem here? Well, let me create a problem. See what I'm saying? So that's why practicing in order to go through the breakthrough membrane we talked about and the emotional state management is you got to continually rest that brain. Because it's going to talk to you. It's going to tell you why you're not doing great. It's going to tell you why you should do something else. It's going to tell you why you're a failure. It's going to tell you why you're not good enough. It's going to tell you all your mistakes that you've made, okay? So practice what we talked about a few weeks ago. Create space, create the meditation, focus on gratitude. Now, there's a few words I really love. Compassion, gratitude, and this is a two-part word that kind of means the same thing to me. Forgiveness and acceptance. Really, when we forgive ourselves or forgive another, is we accept ourselves or we accept another, right? Now, you got to take action, though, too. You got to keep doing the action. So great share. Glad you put that on there. Let's see if there's another one question up on here. So Ozzy had talked about one of the things he's focusing on is staying on a strict morning schedule. I'm not sure if he meant his morning routine or not, but I think that's what he meant, is the morning routine moved into the morning prospecting. So what I recommend if you're stuck there is write it out, hand write it out, and that's going to lead to having a higher state management. Got it. Question over here from Michael Wade is, if we have the new cell phone numbers for Mojo, would you recommend still using Cole Realty resources? Listen, gang, here's where I'm at. You guys know I'm a huge proponent of Mojo, and I'm great friends with David England over there. I would say probably hold on to Cole's just for a second, because one of the things that Mojo is working on is now over the next 2 or 3 months, as they get feedback from us as users, they're going to start to tweak the filtration of the data, okay? So I would hang on to it for a minute, but I really think that Mojo is going to be producing some really awesome data here going forward, but be patient with it for a few months as they kind of work out the bugs. Because what people don't understand is the data comes in, they're still trying to tune the algorithms to make sure that they're giving you the best data. You got that? Also, one of the things I want to go over that's brought this up with me, I'm seeing more and more lawsuits for cold calling. Okay, so I want to help you guys make sure you protect yourself and not be afraid at all. But if anyone ever asks you where you got their information, here's what I recommend you use. Do not tell them you got it from Mojo. Do not tell them that you're using an auto dialer. Never, ever, and I know I've done it in my videos, do not use, as a bad example, I'm using Mojo 2.0.4. Do not tell people you use a dialer, okay? Because the rules and laws in the United States are so freaking vague and open. Like, I'm extremely like, in the sense of like, hey, if your data's online, it's free game, right? Like we live in a place where it's free game, right? But the rules are for 20 years ago. So technically, if you call the Zillow lead from your cell phone and you got a complaint, someone could sue you just for calling a Zillow lead from your from your cell phone. They could consider that being a robocall, right? So what I want to teach you guys to do is when someone asks where they got their information, say, hey, listen, I have a team of people every day that they go through the public data to get me people's information to contact about the market. And if that's, if you would prefer not to be on our update list, let me know. I will put you on our own do not call list, so never again do we bug you, okay? So you do not want to say, hey, so Michael Wade, where'd you get my information? Oh yeah, actually I got it from Remind and I've uploaded it into Mojo, and I use this really cool thing as an auto dialer because that's what sets me apart as I prospect a lot. That is a fish. They're going to fish for you because they want to get you in trouble. And we're seeing this where people know the laws so well. It's not even people that don't know. It's not even the consumer that's suing. It's people that know the laws so well. They're working around to find salespeople that are breaking rules and finding out how to fish them in to get them admit to break the rule. And then they're suing them. They're not even turning them in. They're suing them, okay, for kind of like a ransom, right? So they don't get turned in. So I want to tell you guys, to just, if someone asks, hey, listen, appreciate that. I have a team of people every single day that they scour the public records. And then every single day, then I just follow up with these people to find out if they might be thinking of buying or selling some real estate. If it's a problem for you, hey, listen, why don't I do this? I don't mind. Is I'll put you on my own do not call list so that we make sure our data is up to date and you're best protected. Okay, so you just want to be on their side here with this. You don't want to play games with this. All right? Any other questions before we wrap up today's call? Because that just reminded me of, and you know what, Michael, try that. You could say we Googled it, but there's a lot of places. There's White Pages, there's Zaba, there's a lot of places that you could find public information. So I wouldn't tell them a place particular. I just say, hey, we scoured the internet for public data. Okay? Awesome. All right, guys. What I want to challenge you guys to do is do what you know you need to do next. Maybe it's get on the phone and call FSBOS. Maybe it's get your remarketing, retargeting ads put together. Maybe it's actually go practice your skill set. Whatever it is, go do it, but get to work. All right, gang. We'll see ya. Have a great day.